Most people live their lives trapped, not by cages made of steel, but by psychological chains: fear, rejection, abandonment, shame. It isn't just that the world is cruel, it's that our minds echo that cruelty in a loop, replaying the moments that broke us. But what if you could break the loop? What if you could live in such a way that nothing and nobody could ever hurt you again? Not because the world got kinder, but because you became stronger. This is the message hidden deep within the work of Carl Jung. This isn't about ignoring pain or pretending nothing affects you. It's about becoming something so rooted, so internally fortified, that your very being turns suffering into strength, rejection into renewal, and chaos into order. This is the Jungian path to invulnerability. Not physical, but psychological, spiritual, and existential. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The wound is where the light enters. Jung believed that all psychological healing starts with facing the wound, the trauma, the shame, the heartbreak. But here's the paradox. Most people try to escape it. They bury it. They build personalities around it. They develop addictions to avoid it. But Jung says, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. In other words, the very thing you're avoiding is what's hurting you. Not the trauma itself, but your avoidance of it, your disconnection from your shadow. The shadow is the unconscious side of your personality, the repressed desires, fears, urges, and wounds. But in Jungian psychology, the shadow isn't your enemy. It's your path to power. To become unbreakable, you have to walk directly into the thing you're most afraid of feeling: abandonment, shame, weakness, insignificance, and sit in it, not run from it, not numb it, face it. Because in that confrontation, you reclaim something. The energy that's been trapped in your shadow gets reintegrated. You become more whole. You become more real. Every time someone disrespects you and it sends you spiraling, that's not them hurting you. That's your shadow being triggered. That's your inner child crying out. You can't stop the world from being harsh, but you can stop yourself from being fragile. And the first step to that? Owning your shadow. Chapter 2. You are not who you think you are. Jung differentiated between the persona, the mask we wear to navigate society, and the true self buried beneath. Most people are suffering because they believe they are the mask. They think they're the confident one, or the funny one, or the helpful one. But these identities were often built in childhood to protect against pain. If your kindness is how you avoid rejection, it's not real kindness. It's fear in disguise. If your success is how you avoid shame, it's not real achievement. It's compensation. Jung said, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. When you realize that you've been playing a role, you can begin the terrifying process of becoming your authentic self. And that self, the one you buried long ago, is the only version of you that can't be broken. Your persona is fragile, your ego is fragile, but your essence, the core of your being that existed before the world taught you who to be, that part is eternal. Chapter 3. The Power of Psychological Death. Jung often spoke about the concept of the death of the ego. This isn't literal death, it's the death of your illusions, of who you think you are, of who you think you're supposed to be. Why does this matter? Because most people are desperately clinging to a self-image that was built out of fear. They've never questioned it. To become truly untouchable, you have to allow that version of yourself to die. Not once, but again and again. Every time you feel like the world is ending, it's just the false self collapsing. Every breakup, every job loss, every identity crisis. These are invitations to let go of who you were and become who you are. And the more willing you are to die psychologically, the less afraid you are of pain. Pain loses its grip when you realize it's carving space for rebirth. When someone rejects you and it shatters your self-worth, ask yourself, who is feeling rejected? Your ego? Your mask? Your childhood self? Let them feel it, and then let them go. You're not the one being destroyed. You're the one being revealed. Chapter 4. Individuation, the journey to wholeness. Jung's central psychological goal was individuation, the process of becoming a whole, integrated being. This doesn't mean being perfect, it means being complete. To individuate is to gather all the parts of you, the noble and the dark, the heroic and the cowardly, the loving and the rageful, and integrate them into a unified self. Most people are fragments, pieces, split. They suppress their anger, deny their needs, disown their sadness, over-identify with their intellect, or hide their desire. But what is repressed returns through anxiety, depression, chronic self-sabotage. You can't live a powerful life while rejecting your own soul. Jung's answer? Turn inward. Face your dreams, your nightmares, your projections. See the people you love and hate as mirrors. Ask yourself, what am I denying in myself? What do I fear others discovering? What emotions do I refuse to feel? Individuation is painful, but it's also the only path to real freedom. Because once you are whole, once you are aligned with all of you, no one outside of you can unbalance you. Chapter 5. Projection. How the world becomes your mirror. Jung famously said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." When you're triggered by someone, it says more about you than them. The liar triggers the part of you that hides the truth. The arrogant person awakens the part of you that craves recognition. The weak person reminds you of your own vulnerability. We don't see the world as it is. We see it as we are. And until you recognize your projections, you'll be ruled by them. You'll fall in love with people who reflect your fantasy. You'll go to war with people who reflect your shadow. The secret? Own your projections. Use the outer world as a map to your inner landscape. When someone hurts you, before blaming them, ask, what is this revealing in me? If you can do that, over and over, you'll start to reclaim your power. Because you stop needing the world to be safe. You become the safety. Chapter 6. The role of suffering in transformation. Jung didn't promise a life without suffering. In fact, he emphasized suffering as essential, not because pain is noble, but because suffering reveals. When you suffer consciously, when you stay with the pain, instead of running, you undergo alchemical transformation. You turn lead into gold. You begin to see that what felt like punishment was actually preparation. The heartbreak that made you more honest, the betrayal that sharpened your boundaries, the failure that humbled your ego. This is why Jung was obsessed with alchemy, not as a literal search for gold, but as a metaphor for inner transmutation. The raw material of your suffering, when embraced, becomes the fuel for your awakening. Chapter 7. Archetypes, the blueprint of your soul. Jung identified universal archetypes: the hero, the mother, the sage, the shadow, the trickster. These aren't just characters, they're psychic patterns we all carry. And to become unbreakable, you must engage them. You must activate the hero, the part of you willing to take the inner journey. You must confront the shadow, the disowned parts of you seeking expression. You must listen to the sage, the voice of wisdom within. Most people live dominated by one archetype, often unconsciously: the wounded child, the victim, the people pleaser. You'll only feel powerless when you're stuck in one role. But once you awaken all the archetypes within you, you become multidimensional. You become mythic. Chapter 8. Becoming the self, the final form. In Jung's psychology, the ultimate goal isn't to become happy, it's to become yourself, fully, totally, unapologetically. That means knowing your darkness and mastering it. That means knowing your pain and holding it. That means knowing your truth and speaking it. The self, in Jungian terms, is the totality of the conscious and unconscious mind. It's not perfection, it's integration. When you reach this point, something radical happens. No one can manipulate you. No rejection destabilizes you. No praise inflates you. You are not at the mercy of external conditions, because you're finally rooted in something deeper than identity. You're rooted in your essence. You're not a mask. You're not a wound. You're not a role. You are a self, whole, alive, and free. The moment you begin to withdraw the projections you've cast onto others, the expectations, the blame, the unspoken contracts, you stop giving them power over you. You stop expecting the world to heal your wounds and start understanding that the pain you feel is asking to be understood, not avenged. Jung said, "Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darknesses of other people." Because the truth is, most people are not trying to hurt you. They're reacting from their own unhealed places. They're trapped in their own unconscious cycles. When you understand this, you stop taking things personally. You stop being so easily wounded by opinions, rejection, or misunderstanding. Because you realize it has less to do with you and more to do with their shadow. And yet, healing your own wounds doesn't mean you will never be hurt again. It means you'll no longer break from it. You'll no longer be shattered by it. Hurt becomes information. It becomes a signal, not a sentence. Because you've turned inward. You've learned to metabolize pain, and you've stopped outsourcing your peace. This is when you become dangerous. Not in a violent way, but in the Jungian sense. Truly individuated. You don't need validation, permission, or approval. You've learned to sit with your inner critic, stare down the dragon of the unconscious, and come back with gold. Remember, the unconscious is not just a repository of trauma and shadow. It's also the birthplace of wisdom, insight, creativity, love, and resilience. The more of yourself you're willing to face, the more whole you become. Not perfect, not invulnerable, but whole. People often think awakening is about light, but Jung knew that true enlightenment is a descent. It's going down into your own abyss, not to get lost, but to reclaim the parts of yourself you abandoned in childhood, in heartbreak, in failure. It's about becoming radically honest about your wounds so that no one can weaponize them against you. Think about that for a moment. What would your life be like if nobody could ever guilt you again? If no insult stuck? If no manipulation worked? If no rejection unraveled you? That's not apathy. That's not emotional numbness. That's sovereignty. That's what Jung meant when he said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And who you are is not a victim of the past. Who you are is what you choose to integrate, confront, and own." Once you stop needing people to behave a certain way for you to feel okay, you start experiencing a new form of freedom, one built on internal rather than external control. You become less reactive. You no longer respond to every perceived slight. You choose when to engage and when to walk away, not from fear, but from awareness. Jung also emphasized that integration isn't a one-time event. It's a process, a lifelong unfolding. You might think you've healed something, only to find yourself triggered again. That's not failure. That's another layer revealing itself, and every layer is a gift. Every trigger is a trailhead, a breadcrumb leading you back to yourself. The more you pay attention, the more you realize life isn't trying to hurt you, it's trying to wake you up. The pain you experience in relationships, in failure, in abandonment, it all serves one function: to reveal to you the parts of yourself you've exiled. Carl Jung didn't just want us to be happy, he wanted us to be whole. And that requires developing a sacred kind of independence, a knowing that no matter what happens outside you, there is a center within you that no one can touch, a calm in the storm, an unshakable witness. But this doesn't come naturally. It must be built through reflection, solitude, and ruthless self-honesty. You'll be tempted to distract yourself with pleasure, with noise, with endless scrolling and consuming, but none of it will help you avoid the task that only you can do, the task of becoming. And this becoming isn't glamorous. It often looks like sitting in silence with your shame, like choosing not to lash out when triggered, like writing about your anger instead of projecting it, like saying no when you're afraid of being disliked. These are the quiet moments where freedom is born. Because no one becomes free by accident. You must choose it, you must claim it, and you must protect it, not from the world, but from the parts of you that would rather remain unconscious. The ego would rather you stay resentful than admit your pain. It would rather you blame than transform. But the soul is relentless. It keeps calling you inward. It keeps inviting you to reclaim the pieces you lost in the fire. Because on the other side of that fire is someone who cannot be manipulated, cannot be gaslit, cannot be guilted or shamed into submission. Someone who has tasted the depths of their own darkness and found power, not paralysis. Jung knew this truth better than anyone, that the person who has faced their own shadow is not easily frightened, because they know that fear is a guide, not a god. And once you stop worshiping your fear, you become unstoppable. This doesn't mean you won't feel pain ever again. It means the pain will no longer own you, and that is what real strength is. Not the absence of weakness, but the presence of courage. The kind of courage that stands firm when everything inside you wants to run, hide, lash out, or collapse. When you truly commit to inner work, you'll start noticing something strange. You'll feel more compassion for others, even those who hurt you. You'll see their pain. You'll recognize their blindness. And while you may still choose distance or boundaries, it will no longer come from bitterness. It will come from wisdom. Because forgiveness, as Jung implied, is not about excusing behavior. It's about freeing yourself from carrying poison that was never yours to begin with. The moment you realize that the person who hurt you was acting from their own unconscious, you begin to break the cycle. You no longer need to pass on the pain. You can transmute it. That's alchemy. And it's not theoretical, it's practical, daily. It's waking up and choosing not to be reactive. It's noticing when you're triggered and pausing before acting. It's holding yourself with compassion instead of criticism. And most of all, it's the quiet, internal declaration. Nothing and nobody will ever hurt me again, because I know who I am. If this message resonated with your spirit, consider sharing it. Someone out there might be carrying the same questions, the same doubts, the same quiet hope, and your sharing might be the reminder they need. Stay true, stay kind, stay you. For more insights on philosophy, personal growth, and the art of clear thinking, subscribe and turn on notifications. Flow through life and embrace the journey of thought with curiosity and insight. Seek truth, seek wisdom, and remember to question everything. Until next time, stay curious.